Welcome everybody to the latest episode of Cannabis Review. I am delighted to be joined on this episode by Jakob Sons. He's the co-founder of Cansativa over in Germany. They're a medical cannabis company who are leading the way in the European market. How are you keeping, Jakob?
I'm good. Thank you very much, and very happy to be here.
Delighted to have you on the show. I know you and your brother are kicking ass with Cansativa in Germany at the moment, are one of the biggest companies and the main prominent guys in Europe. Can you maybe give everybody an overview on the first topic, where the Cansativa story, how you guys set up, and how long you guys have been in the industry?
Yeah, so the Cansativa story is, first of all, a story about two brothers. So my brother Benedict and me, we founded the company in 2017, right before there was a significant change in law liberalizing the cannabis market for medical use. So this was one of the main turning points in the German legal ecosystem. And this was right at the beginning when Benedict and me decided at a family reunion at a party that we want to engage in this market. And yeah, the company was set up quite quickly, like overnight. And together with our father, who's a co-founder, not an active member of the management, but still a co-founder, we elaborated quite intense on what is the business case. This was mainly a part of my brother, who's a business engineer, and I worked on the regulatory framework. So I have a background in law. And since then, since 4 years, I'm only focusing on the overall regulation of cannabis as a controlled substance, but both in the pharmaceutical and the emerging recreational or to be recreational market in Germany and Europe. And over the first few months and the first year, 2017 and early 2018, we built up the business, rented our first offices. We did everything on our own, from cleaning the restrooms to doing all the packaging stuff. This was like a two-man show at this time. And in early 2018, still one of the early movers, we started our distribution in May 2018. The first medicinal cannabis products that we imported from the Netherlands were shipped to pharmacies. And this was the point in time in the beginning of 2018 that we decided to start a fundraise and have the first few people join the company. And this is clearly the story of 2017 and 2018. And the end of 2018, we had our seed financing round, which somehow brought the business into a very fast growing VC-funded startup company. And this is like the first 1.5 years of Cansativa.
Okay, yeah. So, like with everybody, when you set up a company, you get there, you roll up your sleeves for the first couple of years, and if everything goes according to plan, then you can start utilizing investors' money. One thing I'm curious about: how did you guys go about getting your products in pharmacies? Did you bring on pharmaceutical sales staff, or is there a main let's say holding company for a number of pharmacies around Germany where you could go directly to that company and acquire, let's say, 100 different pharmacies with your products?
So first of all, it's important to understand how the pharmacy ecosystem in Germany works. So pharmacies are operated by individual pharmacists, so it is only allowed to operate up to 4 pharmacies. That's why there is no huge pharmacy network or some kind of a corporate entity that you could lobby to source the products from you. So it is a individual business that is quite intense in terms of building relationships and building trust. But at this time, cannabis was a very young and new market. So we could we challenged the market being best in service, best in delivery times. We were not that much into best price at this time because we decided to build our relationship by customer service and getting into a real relationship with the individual pharmacists. And what is important is that there are some very big full-line wholesalers that serve pharmacies up to 3 or 4 times a day. So this is the route of general pharmaceuticals towards pharmacies. This is kind of a closed shop. You don't really manage to get into this niche just being a pharmaceutical wholesaler. So we decided to focus only on direct sales to pharmacies in the special portfolio of medicinal cannabis flowers. And if you manage to meet the expectations in terms of delivery time, communications, sales channels, and so on, at this time it was quite easy to get into touch with the pharmacies because they were desperately looking for cannabis suppliers. We see, like in the last few years, a significant change. So today it is very hard to get into touch with the pharmacies because there are, I think, 80 importers that always want to sell just, for example, one product sourced from the Netherlands. But the pharmacies today are quite annoyed. They don't want to get addressed by the 80s or 19s importer that only wants to sell Bedrocan, but they want to have a single point of contact. And we developed over time from someone who had a product they were desperately looking for in the beginning towards a one-stop shop that now is offering everything that the pharmacy needs. And this is a transition phase where we profited a lot from being an early mover at this time.
Okay, amazing. That kind of leads me on to the next topic I want to talk about, and it's the European opportunity. We can obviously, anybody with a bit of sense who knows the industry, it's going to be medical for the first couple of years, but we see the rumorings of a recreational market happen in Germany with the recent elections there. How do you see the European opportunity? Do you think recreational is going to be here within 5 years? And if it does happen in Germany, do you think that's going to open the floodgates for the rest of Europe?
Yes. So first of all, I see, as you outlined, a European opportunity. So we have a harmonized European economic zone or economic market. And that's why we see more or less in whole Europe those two dimensions. The first dimension is medical or pharmaceutical use. The other dimension is, in the broadest sense, recreational use. What do we differentiate in those segments? First, medical and pharmaceutical is what we see in Germany, especially as one of the leading roles, especially because we have a cost reimbursement system. This always is a driver for innovation in those sectors or those pharmaceuticals. If there's no cost reimbursement, it is always hard to bring products in. So this is why Germany is most important in the medical sphere right now. But we see that other jurisdictions are important as well. So especially if you look at the production, it might be Portugal or Spain or Denmark, which is the place to go to have your products, your pharmaceuticals grown in a high quality. This, I think, is in the medical ecosystem something that is currently developing over different countries in Europe. There's the first trials in France. There are experiments in other jurisdictions as well. So in the first dimension, medical, I think there is a ongoing and continuing development towards a more liberalized approach over Europe towards cannabis as a pharmaceutical substance, as a medicinal product. What we see in the second dimension is clearly recreational in the broadest sense, as I said, because we observed that in whole Germany we have in 3 different segments the development. First is hemp, especially fiber, clothing, foodstuff. We see the development of novel food. So there will be a decision on the novel food status of CBD, and this will be only the beginning of a roaring and bursting market because there is a significant demand for CBD products, even though they are now still in the gray or black market. So this will be the second part. This will be a holistic development in Europe that we observe. And the second, or the third, is anything relating to THC containing products. And I think there will Germany definitely be again a leader. I would assume that if our so-called traffic light coalition will get to operations, and if they constitute the government over the next few weeks, it will be quite obvious that over the next 2 or 3 years we have legal THC containing cannabis in Germany. And this will again be a leading role model for Europe because it will show proof that this system works with view to drug addiction policy, with view to protection of minors and so on.
Okay, it kind of leads me into the next topic that I want to talk about is European imports versus European homegrown. You mentioned that the place to kind of grow with your product at the moment would be Portugal, Denmark. Denmark have the ornamental flower industry. Portugal has a great climate. Do you see there being a nuanced difference between the warmer climates in Europe growing it and then the specialized farming countries growing it? Because let's say somebody like Ireland, where I'm from, we have some of the best farming community in the world. Never mind just of Europe. And the way I see it happening, when the regulations fall down, you're going to have the ability for each nuanced country to have their own individual strain with their own individual benefits. Do you see that happening, or do you see the imports from low-cost territories like South America and Africa imported into Malta, places like that, and turned into products? Which do you see being the future for the European industry?
I think it always depends. So as the whole industry is getting a bit more liberal, first in the medical ecosystem, then in the recreational ecosystem, we will see that there is a product differentiation. So it will begin that pricing is something which is very important to get access for the mass market. So I think for the low cost products, there will be a significant need for competitive cultivation in Latin America, for example, in Southern Africa, because you cannot really compete with the labor costs applied to those products there. But on the other hand, especially in the recreational ecosystem, it is more about the right brand, the right strain, the right product claim and product quality. And still today in the medical ecosystem, patients are very aware of where is the product coming from. They are very aware of, is the product, for example, treated with irradiation or not. So those are always topics that are important. And the difference between non-EU cultivation and EU cultivation might always be a difference between is it indoor or outdoor. So producing a low-cost product is then a huge advantage if you're not only cultivating in a climate that is good for the product, not only cultivating in a area where labor cost is low, but it's always about do you need all those extensive investments in the greenhouses that are closed and so on. So we see a competitive advantage here for those that cultivate in areas that have a better climate than, for example, Germany. If you take Germany as the domestic grown cannabis, it is still ridiculous that cannabis plants have to be grown not only without sunlight, but in a safe room. And this can't be something that is here a benefit for domestically grown cannabis. So I would consider that especially in the recreational industry, there will be a product need, or there will be a demand for product that have a specific terroir. That is more important about where is it coming from, how is the product be made, because it is more about having a product that is like in the wine industry, has a origin, a signature, which is not only pertaining to a strain or genetic, but always to the origin in terms of what is the terroir, what is the climate zone it has been grown in. And I think this will be a story that is working when building brands better than when building a pharmaceutical product, because their product quality standardization is more important, and this is always easier in a controlled ecosystem, controlled greenhouses, where you can control all those parameters from light to water to nutrition and so on.
Yeah, I think the medical industry are going to be able to get that product perfect with the amount of capital and investment in research and development, whereas the recreational brands are going to be the story, as you said, the carbon footprint, a number of different variables that the consumer will go for. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Jakob. I could talk to you all day about the European cannabis industry, but I know you're a busy man and we have the 15-minute time limit. Anybody wants to check out Cansativa, the website link is below. Highly recommend you checking them out, and hopefully we can get to talk again in the future, Jakob.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.